They asked me, well, what would happen if Donald Trump were elected to the presidency again? What would that do for American democracy? And I said, Peter, that it would be catastrophic.
So next time a MAGA Republican says to you, we're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic, explain that the two are connected, that a democracy operates within a republic, and also explain to them that the opposite of democracy is a dictatorship.
I'm a very proud election denier.
I just thought that, with tensions ramping up and with Donald Trump using Hitler quotes in his speeches, what is the alternative to a democracy? Have we really thought about that? I mean, it's clear that many Republicans don't even know what democracy is. They don't care for democracy. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene have said outright, we're not a democracy. And what is a democracy? Well, a democracy is a government in which the supreme power is held by the people and used by them directly or indirectly through representation. And how do people get their power? They vote. So what is the alternative? What is the opposite of democracy? It's tyranny. It's totalitarianism. It's despotism. It's a monocracy or a dictatorship. So you choose. You have democracy or you have dictatorship. Democracy is offered by Joe Biden and the Democrats, and clearly since the traditional Republican Party of your grandparents got overwhelmed and taken over by far-right extremists, MAGA Republicans and fascists, they don't care for democracy. They keep pushing this line. We're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic. The two are not mutually exclusive. What's really important here is that we understand that our freedoms are being eroded by the very government that we have elected. And so you won't be able to elect a government if Donald Trump has his way, because he will do away with the vote. He's already said he would like to remain in power forever. Taking a leaf out of Vladimir Putin's book, who's been in power for 23 years.
Because if you have a capable, competent, smart, tough leader, Russia, China, North Korea, they're not going to want to play with us. And they didn't.
This is the problem, is that if you want to be truly represented, if you want to be able to vote for people who can represent you, you've got to stick to the system. And the system has rules and protocols. And if you don't like the result, you can't just say that it was rigged. Because it's Donald Trump who has been saying that the election is rigged over and over and over for the last 6 years. He is the reason why American democracy is in question. It wasn't before he came along and said these things. It wasn't before Fox News repeated these things, and right-wing radio hosts repeated these things, and Facebook repeated these things. It was never in peril. And 62 court cases looking at election interference found none. And voting machines, something that, companies like Dominion, who hold their voting machines in such high regard and are used all over the world in peaceful and respected democracies, those machines were called into question. By who? By Donald Trump and by his team of lawyers who now are all pleading guilty for interfering with the election. So, if you want clarity, then just look at the facts. America needs to remain a democracy, not because it's a similar word to Democrat. Democracy is not exclusive to Democrats. Democracy is something for everybody. It is the right of representation based on your free vote. But if you feel that your vote is not worth anything because they've told you so, and if you feel that Donald Trump is your man and he's going to fix everything because he knows everything about everything and he's got you covered, then fine, have your dictatorship, because that is the alternative to a free vote and a democracy, a dictatorship. Donald Trump is offering you a dictatorship where you don't get a say in any of the policies. You just trust him to get on with everything. And let's see how that goes down, how long that lasts. Because dictators always fall. And a dictator, he points to Putin, he points to Xi Jinping, he points to Viktor Orban. These are people that he respects because they are strong. But he never talks about the fact that they don't allow people to vote in their countries. He never talks about the fact that under those types of dictatorships, people are not free. They're not free to practice their religion. They're not free to have their own belief system. They're not free to even go out and vote. And their vote, if it is placed, is often not counted. And that is what Donald Trump wants. So he's been reverse engineering the conversation, claiming the election was rigged when it wasn't, so that if he was to get into power, he can then rig the election so he can stay in power.
American democracy is in greater peril today than it's ever been in American history.
Let's not forget what the Nobel Prize-winning author Sinclair Lewis warned, saying that when fascism comes to America, it'll be wrapped in the flag and wearing a cross. And that's where we're at now. The use of Christian nationalism, religious extremism, and preventing people from being free to practice their religion. The Muslim ban, which he wants to bring back, weaponizing the federal government, shutting down the judiciary, giving everybody a test to see if they can pledge their allegiance to Donald Trump. These are the things that are planned for the next Trump presidency. They are the opposite of democracy, which is a dictatorship. And America was always the land of the free. Well, they're going to have to rewrite the national anthem and a whole bunch of songs, because the U.S. will not be free under a future Trump presidency, which will be one of retribution and of hate, one that is anti-religious freedoms and one that shuts down the free press so that you can't even get coverage such as this, where we have the opportunity to speak freely. It'll all go. And, they're not hiding this fact. These things are very much in their manifesto for change, whether it be Project 2025, which you can download and read, or whether it be in Donald Trump's speeches. So next time a MAGA Republican says to you, we're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic, explain that the two are connected, that a democracy operates within a republic, and also explain to them that the opposite of democracy is a dictatorship. And that's what they're voting for.
I'm a very proud election denier.
I'm Anthony Davis. You can hear me every day on the 5-Minute News podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.